Well, I believe that we ought to keep every measure possible that, that ensures that we save energy in our home. It is a good policy. We need to build on that policy, of course, and increase the outcome and the effect of that policy. And we do certainly need to look at alternatives to ensure that we are getting the most energy efficient home for the money. Because it does cost, and it's beginning to cost, a lot more for energy. And we need to find ways that will prove to be efficient and will prove to be cost-saving, not only for our homeowners, but for the community as well. We have so many opportunities that people across in Europe and in Asia are taking advantage of. There's so many homes that are putting solar panels on their homes. There's no reason why, if Germany can do it, Canadians can have a bare rooftop and letting that space just sit there, wasting that wonderful free energy that is abundant and for all to use. We need to consider heating our water through the use of solar panels, lighting our homes through the use of these solar panels. And those are the type of things that we need to start using. There is a vision with the Green Party to do these sorts of things and to bring them to fruition. It's just a matter of getting the community together and understanding what our true needs are and what direction we wish to go into.
All right, Janice.
We will absolutely continue this program of retrofitting houses and supporting homeowners in doing that, because, you know, this is necessary for the future. We need to reduce our energy use drastically, or our children and our grandchildren are not going to have anywhere near the standard of living we have today. It's very important for the future. We are running out of fossil fuels. I know we've got 35 years left, but, you know, I'm planning on still being here. So, you know, we really need to find alternatives. The NDP will also extend this to business. You know, we need to help business retrofit for green jobs, to retrofit for lower energy ways of doing business. So we need to provide support there. And the NDP will also put in a green bond so Canadians can invest in proper research, because, you know, the mercury-filled light bulbs that Mr. Harper is recommending everybody go to are poisoning our soils and poisoning the land and making food unsafe. So, you know, we need to look at every product, not just, oh, this will save money here or this will save energy here. We need to look at where it comes from. What are the social and ecological issues, how it's used, and where it goes after we're done using it. So we need to look at, for example, a lot of solar panels are created with oils and plastics, you know, which is not necessarily going to help us in the long run. So we need to invest in our young people, again, in schools, you know, learning and experimenting with innovative new ways of helping us. Geothermal is, you know, an untapped resource that we need to look at. But we need to be smart and not just pick the environmental issue that everybody will think is sexy this year. You know, we need to really look deep and make a better world for our children.
Sure, thanks. And Louis.
First and foremost, we got to mention that Stephen Harper's government has changed five ministers of the environment over the last 5 years. And hence, when we went to the Copenhagen conference, we got the Fossil Award, which means we were one of the worst countries.
We are.
That's only due to Stephen Harper's policies. We had one of our young youth liberals go to the conference, and when she came back, she told us the story where she had a Canadian flag on her jacket, and people were asking her, "What's wrong with Canada? Why have you changed so much?" Well, the reason we've changed is because we've changed governments that does not believe in environmental issues, that they believe in big oil and big corporations. And we've got to go back to the basics. They even canceled the retrofits to homes. And now, just before the election, amazingly, they come up with a similar program. But our platform is that we will provide $13,500 of tax credits to every homeowner to change their roof, to change the insulation on their home, to change their appliances to high efficiency, so their use of energy will decrease.
All right, debating time.
I was able to buy a new furnace, you know, with this package. It's very important. I mean, that's, you know, putting a child through school, having 2 other children that I'm supporting, my husband. You know, we are both just working class people, and without that program, we would not have an energy efficient furnace. You talked about the ministers of the environment. I don't know whether to cry or laugh when the Minister of the Environment of Canada says, oh, don't worry about that big oil spill in Mexico. If it happens here, the oil will just go down to the bottom of the ocean. You know, like, what planet is he looking after? You know, like that we can, you know, somehow accept oil on the bottoms of our ocean. You know, we need a real environmental minister, someone who is there to speak on behalf of the environment and for our children. You know, I hope to have grandchildren one day, and I will be ashamed, you know, if I have to look them in the face and they are disgusted with how we wasted and destroyed the world they live in. I want my grandchildren to respect me, you know, and to see that the generation before them built for them. You know, I see this as the first generation in history that is not building for the future, that is saying, okay, things are getting scary, let's take as much as we can now before it's too late. You know, this is not the way to prepare for future generations.
If I may add, we will one day have to look at our children in the eyes and answer what we did to ensure a better future for them. So that is one question that I think about on a daily basis. And we do have to bring about more environmentally friendly alternatives because we, as a nation, as a community, don't want to be ending up like the poor people in Japan right now. We need to wean ourselves off of oil-based economies and energy sources and nuclear, especially nuclear. We know what happened in Chernobyl. We know what happened in 3 Mile Island. And we know what's actually happening at Darlington right now with the leaks. What are we going to say to our children when they ask us, why did you not stop, especially when the technology exists for alternative sources? As my friend said, with geothermal, with wind energy, with renewable energies that don't cause the same amount of pollution.
I say hook up all the exercise places, you know, to turbines,
and
we'll pay people to exercise.
I love the idea.
That's right, because we have been talking about environmental conservation at the consumer's end all the time. Yeah. So the government has been pretty lax on regulating environmental conservation at the manufacturer's end. One blue box that we bring to the curbside, actually 40 boxes of waste are generated at the manufacturing end. So would your party, what policy would your party be proposing to deal with this kind of problem, this kind of environmental waste at the manufacturer's end?
Well, if I may, we have to start at the top. Again, we got to go back to the top. These decisions are made by a party. They're made by the governing party. And what we've seen in the last few years is totally absurd. There's no regard for the environment by the conservatives. You know, David Suzuki and other associations are totally against what Harper is doing with this. And Minister Kent, you know, he says, even this morning on CBC, I was listening, he says, well, we're following the Americans on it. Well, we are not American. My parents didn't come to America. They came to Canada. And Canada is our country. And we've got to have our own standards. We've got to establish those standards that are much more aggressive, much more in line, like our friend from the Green Party, NDP, says.
Consumers have to establish the standards. If we wait around for government to do this, you know, we'll all be dead long before it happens. You know, consumers have to say, I want less packaging. Because, you know, in the end, you can only regulate business so far in a capitalist society. You need the consumers, the people buying the products, to say, I don't want to buy a little memory stick that's in a great big plastic container, you know, like we can, you know, we're so afraid of theft, because everybody has everyone afraid of crime. We need to put the environment and saving on packaging way ahead of that and find innovative ways to sell products that don't use these packages.
And getting back to the question at hand, we need to focus as well on the very good statement that you made on the manufacturing level. We are rewarding them and lowering their energy costs and increasing the costs to the consumer. It has to be the other way around.
All right, finals are coming, so I believe Professor have more questions after break.
Good.